Hey, good morning everybody. Welcome back to the channel, Drawing with Michael. I am, of course, Michael. Today is day 3 of Inktober and my venture into drawing a character from the Harry Potter series every single day. There might be a possibility that I'll repeat one or two of the characters just because some of them deserve maybe a little bit more complex illustration work. But today I'm just going to do a really quick head profile of the one who will not be named, Voldemort. So that's what I'm going to do today. Today I'm working with toned Strathmore paper, and today the tone is going to be a gray tone. So with that, since Voldemort has green, kind of a white, pasty green gray skin, so I decided to do this. Let me see if that light helps a little bit. Yeah, that light helps just slightly. We'll do reflective light for this. There we go. Using the Color Erase blue line, and then of course I will ink it. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the process of me doing these characters. I've been enjoying them so far. I haven't really dove too deep into these just yet, just because it's near the beginning of Inktober, and as I venture forth, that's why I said I'll probably end up doing maybe one or two of the characters twice, just because I think they deserve a little bit more examination, such as this character right here. I'd like to do, maybe a full action pose or something of him. I just haven't sat down and done the thumbnails for it just yet. So it just takes a little bit of prep work to make sure that you get these things done in such a way that is attractive. Okay. You guys know who this guy is. He's a turd. I remember watching the movie and thinking how well Ralph Fiennes did with this particular character, and how the subtleties that he had in his expression really came through and made him exactly what that character needed in the context of the story at that time. Definitely a balance of good, wanting his own way, but also just evil to the core, right? Evil. Okay. I mean, who wants to kill children, right? This guy is just, sheesh. Man. If I remember correctly, you guys will probably call me on this. He's got snake-like qualities to him. Because he was kind of reformed using the blood of a snake. So after he was destroyed and separated into the parts, his power was separated into the parts of the Horcruxes. He was, put in, resurrected, so to say, at least his body was, using the blood of a snake. Like I said, I haven't read the books, which I probably need to. Working on his eye right now, and his forehead's not right. The basic shape of Voldemort, I think, is a real. It's an interesting shape because, if you base it on the movie, it's very minimalistic, right? He's got, which actually kind of lends to the creepiness. And I think it's quite interesting. They did it this way. Have this come around this entire cheek right here. And then I have that. have this ear cavity kind of be inside a little bit of this plane. So I got this plane right here. I've got this ear cavity, minimalistic ear cavity. Sort of like a snake hole, right? The snake ear that comes around. It's a combination between a human ear and a snake ear. And this comes around like this. And this goes down. I want his neck to be a little bit longer, so I'm going to bring this back just slightly. Have this come around. Right? Have that come down slightly. Okay, so go back to his eyeball. It helps a lot of times, especially if you've started out with your basic shape and you've roughed in, your head shape here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start thinking, in terms of just plane language. How I want the planes to form. Like I have this plane of the under part of the eye structure, because here's the top of that eye socket, here's the inner part, here's this part, right? And I've got this other part that comes here, and it comes down. And this nose, typically with noses, we'll have them come out like this, right? And then you'll form, but with him, I've got to think, I got to sharpen my pencil. I got to think in terms of how this comes down, and it really basically comes in just slightly. Even go so far as to maybe continue that line down, right? And since I've got almost a little bit, I don't really want a 3/4 view. So I'm going to have this come out in just slightly. And then this comes here. And this kind of comes under. I want this to come under because I want this to come out and gives just a little indication of a nostril. See, this line comes here and it continues in and over. This comes here, and now have that come here and have that lid wrap around ever so slightly of that round eyeball that's inside of his head. And I'll have that. That's for the context of the illustration. I want his eye to be looking this direction. So what I'll do is I'll have this like right here. And I'll have that come in. Maybe I'll have like a little slit right there. Okay. He doesn't have a lot of baggage, but you have to understand that, that eye does need to come, it is sitting in there. So what I'll do is I'll just bring this around just ever so slightly, and I'll have this lid come up and breach. Because I want that eyeball is quite, excuse me, it is stylized, but then again, I want it to have some type of realistic feel to it. Okay. Okay, so maybe I'll have this, the ear, here's the edge of the jaw, here, this comes down, slight, ever so slight indication of his chin, right, and then I'll come back, I'll have this come here. A little bit of here. It actually could go just slightly. I still want it to have some type of realism to it. Measuring out just slightly those proportions on the head. Right, so now we'll come here. I want to have this wrap around slightly. It's kind of a minimalistic design because, you know, Voldemort, here we go, his design is minimalistic, you know, with the snake. That snake blood that courses through his veins. So I'm going to erase a little bit of this tunic / cloak in the background, just slightly. I'm going to have this come around right there. There's those birds again. Kind of sounds like a kookaburra. A kookaburra. Which it's not. Kookaburras are in Australia and New Zealand. And this musculature that comes down, this whole muscle group right here. Okay. You know, that mouth basically, I'm gonna, right here, I'm gonna put those lips right there. Comes out slightly. Define that silhouette here. And now we're gonna change that chin slightly. Come here. Sometimes it's just the smallest. It's going to come up. Okay. This comes here slightly. Alright. This comes here. I'm not going to have it wrap all the way around. He doesn't really have big lips. You know, for some reason, every time I look at Voldemort, he reminds me of a pharaoh. You know, that sickness. He's got that sickness. You know, that power sickness. You know, it's got that pharaoh kind of a mentality. You know, got that chin that comes here. This plane goes in just a little bit, and then it comes out. So it goes in, and then it goes out like that. Okay. So I'm going to have this go all the way across to this bone right here. This is a bone underneath. Right here. And then you have that high cheekbone right here that comes like this. All the way down. Right, this comes here, then it goes down like this. So I've got a nice angular presence right here. That nice dark line defines this chin. I need to have that chin go out further. This isn't big enough. So now that I'm starting to get into the correction, again, drawing lightly is key, because what happens if you don't is exactly what happened here. I've left divots, little marks in the paper. And before, you guys always need to remember, and I'm preaching to, you know, obviously I'm saying things that I didn't just do. So just remember, draw lightly. You don't want to screw up like Mike did. Okay, so here we are. Color in that ear slightly. This comes around. You know, maybe it comes up, comes around, and it comes like that. And this whole shape right here, I can go ahead and shade that in slightly because it's indented into his head. Right? So I'm going to come back. I've got this right here. Okay. So we're going to come here. Kind of split that up just slightly. I can imagine what he's saying, right? He's like thinking. He's in stop mode. And this comes around, right, and this plane connects down here. There we go. Okay, and I'll go ahead and put my pencil on the side. I'll do a little shading over here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'll just do a really quick inking for you guys. You know, he's got some cool designs that are in his head, possibly. And then he's got, from all of his severe anger issues, he's got from pressing his lips together. Yeah, he's got these lines that come off, similar to how snakes, you know, maybe there's a couple little scaledoos here, but not really, just under the skin, right? With a translucency, he's still, let this come down, he's still a man, right? Sort of. He's more beast than anything. So, alright, so what I'm going to do now, I don't know what pen I want to use. I do like this pen a lot. Let me see what it feels like. Yeah, that's a nice pen. Been using this pen right here. It's got a nice it's got a nice tip to it. Not so much a brush pen, it's more of a detail pen. But I do like, so what I'll do is I'll just basically come in, and I want them to be pretty smooth. Maybe a little divot right here. You know. So we'll come back. And we'll push this in just slightly. Here. Right, comes around here, here. Nice. Alright, so we'll come here. This lash here, right there, and come around, that little bottom lid comes around, and then here, kind of. Doesn't have any hair. Have this come around. This is the strongest right there, just a nice long arc. This follows here. It goes like this. Draw in right there. There we go. Looking at you going, I'm going to destroy you, Harry Potter. I'm going to destroy you. Right. Here. Goes around like that. Okay, this goes all the way around. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do some indication right here. Right? And here. Goes around. Here. Like so. bit thinner up top here, and then it gets thicker right here. I'm going to come back here in just a second with a thicker line. To really define some of these other areas. Like this goes here. I want it to come up. This goes here. He does really remind me of a pharaoh now that I get into it, which is fascinating. You know, all the depictions and whatnot of what, you know, we kind of envision pharaohs to be like. You know, that evil incarnate, you know, power hungry, only interested in self-preservation. Do a little bit darker near the crease right here. I'll come back. I might even do color on this one. This one kind of needs that blue, greenish. You know, comes here and I'll go like that, right? It really actually needs that. So what I might do for you guys today, just because I've got a couple minutes, it's only been, what, 19 minutes? Is to go ahead and maybe do time lapse of application of some color. I might do that just for you guys. I know that Inktober, you know, has many quote-unquote legs, many ways to do things, and, you know, I'm the first one to admit if it needs something, then do it. And I think this really, you know, if we come here, we get a couple little, you know, really cool little squiggly doos. So let's go up like that. You know, maybe here. Yeah, I like that. You can see some of the And whenever you do stuff like what I'm doing right now, you always need to remember that this is a curved surface, so you don't draw straight. You figure that it's a curved surface like this, so it needs to go up, right? This kind of curves around. Okay, what I'm going to do now is basically, I'm going to go back and define my lines a little bit better. A little bit faster now. Okay. And maybe he's got a couple of squiggly doos under here. Right? One that's kind of like this. He's got, not tattoos, they're not tattoos, they're part of his skin structure, you know, that help kind of define him as that creepily character. I mean, I don't see this guy serving you your latest pumpkin spice latte, right? Maybe if you, he's like, your pumpkin spice latte is now available. Kind of comes around like this, yeah. Kind of goes down. Maybe this is a little bit more defined, right? We got these coming down. So what I'm going to do for you guys, I'll put you on time lapse as I go ahead and define some of the darker lines, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to put in some so blues, some greens, you know, to kind of give him a little bit of color. So you guys get a better understanding of context. And what I'll do is I'll erase a little bit of this, but not much. I don't want to erase too much. because I like that, you know, that kind of sketchiness. And once I put the marker in, it'll help, you know, you know, push and pull those planes back and forth. So anyway, enjoy the time lapse, and we'll do a simple wrap up at the end. Okay, that is it for today. I'm not going to go too much further in with this just because work calls. You know, I could basically go in and start, you know, really messing around with, you know, color reflections, you know, different hues that really bring out, you know, some of the planes and stuff like that. But that's, you know, that's maybe for another day. So anyway, thank you guys for visiting, you know, the channel today. Please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Trying to build the channel so I can pay for the videos. So definitely share, and you know, got a lot of videos on here, so definitely peruse and browse and enjoy the process of Inktober. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.